Welcome, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and you will, each of you, be asked to introduce yourselves, but let me first. Haley and I were trying this earlier, and I'm having some logistical difficulty with the Mac, so I apologize for the slowness. So this is why we're here today, and Seesaw for Schools and the enhancements that you may or may not know about with the new subscription. If you want a copy of the slides, that's the bit.ly for the slides, and Haley is also going to put it into the chat. So this is who we are. I am the Owen District Digital Learning Facilitator, and I'm a Seesaw Certified Educator and Ambassador, and my co-host.
Hello, and I'm Haley Stamey, the Irwin District Digital Learning Facilitator and also a Seesaw Ambassador.
We would love for you to unmute your mic and tell us who you are. I'm going to put the pictures over here so that each of you can know what the other teaches. Who wants to go first?
I am Jennifer Lawson, and I'm a kindergarten teacher at Black Mountain Primary, and I have been a Seesaw Ambassador since maybe March.
Perfect timing for it.
I'm Emily McKinney. I teach third grade at Woodfin Elementary, and I have been a Seesaw Ambassador as well since March of 2019.
Nice.
Olga Erkenbrecher, and I work at the Everest Creek Elementary School and dual language kindergarten teacher assistant, and I am no ambassador yet.
Welcome.
Pam Johnson, Digital Learning Facilitator for Reynolds District, and here just learning from my team too, like always. So I don't know when we got our ambassadors training. Couple of years ago, but I haven't finished the Pioneer yet, so I'm still learning. That's new.
Kendra?
I am Kendra. I'm the Robertson District Digital Learning Facilitators, and I'm excited to be here with all of you to learn.
I'm Gina Powers, and I teach second grade at Emma Elementary, and I became an ambassador. I don't really remember when.
Wow, that's a great group of people. So we are going to do quite a bit today, and we're hoping to keep track of our thoughts and our ideas on a Padlet, which is going to be on the slides, and Haley is also going to share in the chat. I want you to take a look at, this is the agenda, but within the agenda are all of the basic new things or upgrades that you get as a Seesaw for Schools school. We have a third grade teacher here, so you do not have the premium features, but if you're an ambassador, you do enjoy some of the same things. So take a minute to look through this and let me know if you are surprised by any of those items that you see on the agenda.
And Lorraine, just to add, our third grade teacher who is here, her third and fourth grade purchased Seesaw, so she has it.
Oh, that's perfect then. So any surprises in that list? You'll also see there's a hyperlink to the Padlet discussions once you get the slides loaded, and then there's a link to a Canvas course for Seesaw for Schools when you're ready for it. Haley, have you put the slides in the chat? Okay. Let us know when you get those slides loaded, because we're going to go back and forth between a couple different areas. So a question for you. You've already introduced yourself. We want to know what your students or your own favorite Seesaw tool is, and we want you to hop right on over to the bit.ly that you see there at the bottom, or it's also in the chat, and go to the Padlet and give your response. I'll give you just a minute. You can mute your mic, go open a new tab. And I think I will here it is. Is anybody there yet, Haley?
Yeah, we have several who are working on it as we speak. And if you scroll down in that first column, Lorraine, you should start to see some of their answers. So Kendra, the voice recording, using the tool screen, voice recording. Pam's loading hers up. Oh, she's got a fancy image.
Very nice.
Recording their voice, video. And looks like a couple are still adding some things to that.
You let me know if there's anything else that we need to discuss. So these were some of the possible ideas we got from Seesaw. And I think 3 or 4 people said the video because it allows them to share their voice, and the draw and record feature because it's like magic. The first time I tried that multi-page draw and record, I really didn't think it was going to keep up with me, but it did. And it really was powerful to see the video then get linked to the top of the slide deck. And then that's where the multi-page is coming in for complex ideas. Haley, you like the multi-page for another reason.
Yeah, I like the multi-page so that all of the entire day's assignments could be posted in one activity. And just saw in the Padlet as well, someone, I think it was Emily, had put in, she liked the part where they can give those directions by voice as well as typing them out, just for different kids and parents at home as well.
Anyone else want to say anything about that? Anything else? So this is one of the key features of kind of the themes of Seesaw, how powerful the tools are to give to students to know that they're supported and that they can express their own learning, however they have a natural tendency to do so, to reflect on it and to deepen their understanding. Again, there's the bit.ly for the slides at the bottom. And I canvassed a few of my teachers in the last couple of days just to say, what do you like the most about the Seesaw for Schools? You can see that scheduling assignments was one of the things. I think 5 different teachers said that together, but Sarah Torrey from the 1st grade is using the skills feature to tag skills that she knows she has to grade. Her first example was a fluency passage. Because she tagged it, she knew when to go get it when she was doing her grading. Jennifer, why don't you unmute and you talk for yourself since you're here.
Hi. Yes, so scheduling the assignments, I know as a grade level, we have a template that we put everything in, and it just makes it so easy to go ahead and schedule those out. We do about a week at a time. And then we're also able to differentiate activities by, I changed the icons on my kids so that I know, okay, these are my A kids, these are my B kids, but you also could do it if you're, grouping. And so it just made it easy when I was scheduling those assignments. I went and clicked all my frogs, and I knew that assignment went to them. So it's able to differentiate what assignments I'm giving them. In kindergarten, we're not quite reading yet. So my assistant who is checking my Seesaw activities is able to go in and leave voice comments on their assignments. If she needs to send something back, we record that voice, and they're able to know exactly what they need to go back and fix. So that send back option is a must, when they're working at home and you need them to tweak their assignment just a little bit.
Did they have a difficult time learning how to do that with you? I mean, the kindergartners you would think would be the only ones who would, or did they catch?
We pretty much had, the 2 onboarding days that we, went over things with them, and, they just seemed to catch on really well. We do have a few students that you can tell don't have a lot of support, whether they're at a daycare or at home working on their assignment. So sometimes you're sending the same thing back a couple of times, but you just hope that, with your reassurance and those comments that they're able to go back in and fix that assignment for you.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite features. So you can see Terry Covington here down at the bottom. She is also a teacher at Black Mountain Primary. She likes the link scheduling, the link sharing and the scheduling assignments, but she also loves how easy it is to integrate with Google. And that was another comment that came from a teacher who shared a lot of activities you're going to see later on in the deck. Mercedes Gonzalez has to do a combo classroom, so she has a 2nd and 3rd grade split. And those are the things that she discusses when she says what she likes. But I've put a link in here for the extension that you can add to Chrome. Within Chrome, if you add the Seesaw extension, you can capture an area or the whole area or a selected area and put it right on your post. And for her, for Mercedes, she said that's been a life changer. Has anyone in the I don't know what to call this. This reminds me of a room. I want to say, is anyone in my viewing area? Do you also have it added to Chrome? No? Yay. I haven't used it much, but today when Mercedes told me that, I realized for her that is a game changer because she's doing 2 different grade levels.
And Emily, I think that would be good for you as well, working with 3rd graders, both in Google and in Seesaw.
The copy student link feature has really been helpful in posting into Google Classroom because I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, that's a new feature that wasn't available prior to this spring, where you can directly drop a link to an assignment and it takes them straight there. That has been immensely helpful.
There was a question in the chat, and I think this was directed back towards Jennifer, but Kendra was curious, when you put those icons to kind of identify those A and B kids, does it change their name in all their other classes, or is that just specific to the one class you use?
I am not sure. I would think that it would change it for whoever's seeing them. So, if another teacher is wanting to group them a certain way, that might be, an issue. I know my own daughter put her little profile picture as hers. And so when the teacher went in, she was like, I don't want to change her icon. And none of my kids that I have noticed have figured out how to go in and change it to something else. That was my thought. Yes. But we thought that what we would do is my frogs are my A kids, and to really hype it up and say, okay, you guys are my frogs, and just really make a big deal out of it so that, they're hopefully not going to go in and change that icon. But it just made it super easy as I was, this being our first week back, figuring out, okay, what assignments, are my kids going to be doing at school, and which ones are they going to be doing at home, and which ones do I need to send? But that was just, a quick, easy way that I thought, hey, this is how I can group my students and make it easy, as I'm assigning things.
That's something we could test, though. Kendra, that's a great question. I think it probably would change it if they are the Seesaw for Schools login. So the objective for us here is to get really comfortable using enhanced video, link, and draw and record to deepen student understanding. And as you mentioned, I think it's Emily, you need to update those updates that came. A lot of these things didn't work until a few months ago, actually, and the updates were essential to have it happening. So make sure you check that. So using video on the Canvas, I have in front of you an example of a teacher who has recorded a video of herself doing a math activity, a lesson. So she uses the tools over the video recorded, and you can capture that recording and size it down so it's small enough to manage on your screen by dragging the corners. And then Seesaw calls this a collage. They put items together so that this becomes the activity. So she has text, she has a bonus question, she has this picture of the cards. So this went in for her students to watch the video, and then the consecutive cards, if you will, would have been their response. How many of you have tried something like this already? Okay. I really love this example, and as much as Haley and I planned for this, we could not come up with a clever activity to utilize to show you our own activity doing the collage in a video. I just have a picture of, that's the camera icon to the left, and you can either upload a video that you've already recorded. So say you did a Screencastify lesson where you were using some other app in your web browser, you could upload that video in here and have it be the part of your activity. Or you could just do the video right inside of Canvas, right inside of Seesaw.
I like that too, because, thinking about those kids who are at home with a grandma or a grandparent, and they don't understand the math game, or they don't understand the directions or the way you're showing them how to not just regroup your numbers, but draw out the problem. You could show that video and then have that practice right beside the video so they could reference back to it. So I think from, a parent and grandparent standpoint, that's helpful as well.
So we are going to start looking, and again, the bit.ly is there for the slides. We want to see if you will attempt, I don't know if you all want to, but we were going to have you do a little video collage of your own. If you could think about something where you could explain the directions to your activity, and it would come, model a task or give a mini lesson, and then use the shape tool or the drawing tool to create a collage to create one of your own. Can you see if everybody's willing to do that, Haley, or if they want to just explore? What do you think, guys? We have things to look at too.
Let's go on to the next one and see if they want to try that one. I didn't see many thumbs up.
No. Okay. So how does enhanced video deepen learning? That's one of the pieces that's also another Padlet, but I'm going to talk about what Seesaw wants you to think about. And take a look at the screen. So with these kind of concepts in mind, can you tell me either how you've already used video in your Seesaw activities or journal prompts, or how you might, now that you know it's there? Go ahead, Jennifer.
So while we were all virtual, I was in charge of doing supplemental literacy. So I would record a video of myself going over, the foundations cards and all that print concept stuff. And so I would link in that video. I would use for directions, I would use the Seesaw icons as well as do the voice directions. And then I would link in activities then where it might have linked in a video of from a website or a Seesaw activity where they took their learning from my video and were able to do a skill that we were to check in the activity part.
So I wonder if you could get a link to one of those to share in the chat, or you could put it on the Padlet. We have a line there. You could share one so that they could see what how you're referring to the collage. How about you, Emily?
Mine was definitely not as elaborate as that, but we are obviously differentiating our ELA, and I have a pretty significant population of English language learners in my class. And I have been embedding different Loom videos since there is not a time limit with Loom. And I've been recording fluency passages and different portions of our text for the week so that they can access it and then participate in different types of graphic organizers, thinking maps, activities. And just like Jennifer was saying, we're using those Seesaw icon shortcuts as really helpful visuals to those students who may need an extra step in accessing the instructions.
Oh, those sound wonderful. We'd love to see yours as well. Or we could have you share your screen, Jennifer, if that's better.
Okay, I'm going back and trying to find some of them.
Anybody else, Haley? Okay, so part of what makes this work is the fact that you now can have multiple links on one canvas. That was not there before the update that came in the spring, I think. And so here is one of the examples that I have from Mercedes, and she's the second and third grade blended classroom. Take a look at everything she has going on here.
Do you want them to go to that link
I'm thinking,
or just kind of hang out?
I'm gonna make this go smaller, hopefully. And then I'm going to invite you to take a moment, click on the link to go see this activity and take a look at everything that's going on and how she has it designed.
And that's on slide 21.
You can go ahead and save the activity if you would like to. Tell me what you notice about what's going on here and what you wonder, or if you would do anything different. What do you notice about this?
I like that the students are able to just explore, and there's, just a lot of, it's kind of beyond that choice. I know back in the spring, the new thing was like making choice boards. And I feel like this is just so much more visual and, that they're able to pick and choose what they'd like to do. And my only concern when I know used choice boards, my daughter's 5. And so some of her special teachers have created these kind of like classrooms. And just once she leaves to go to like an external link, it was hard for her to know how to get back to the Seesaw activity. So that's my only, concern with something like this, is just leaving and then knowing how to get back into to Seesaw. That was her struggle, being 5. But, I love that they have all the options for, just being able to explore.
Has she overcome that obstacle now? Does she know how to get back?
I'm still, in between, my live teaching and everything, was just still helping helping a lot with that piece. Just kind of once that it takes you to that external video, just knowing to hit that X and go back into Seesaw. So yeah, it's something that she will eventually figure out.
Can you tell me anything you notice about the naming convention of this activity? And why the teacher might have chosen to start with a naming convention?
I'm assuming 9/22 would be the date.
Mhm.
And I'm hoping she's built these activities so that I'm not supposed to be sharing.
Yes, you
Sorry.
are.
Well, I'm hoping she's built these activities so that she can use them again or edit them and use them again.
Mhm.
So it mentions the Newsella, how clouds work. So there's a lot of pieces to that.
In the next slide, you'll see that this is the same school, the second grade level, and they're building things together. And this activity is, I've given you the link to the student, and so I'm going to go ahead and show you the student response. So it's a little bit different. It's not as busy as the classroom in the previous picture. But here's her target, and they're using this icon of a target to keep them moving forward and for the students to know exactly what to do. And to me, this is a choice board somewhat, Jennifer, but it's just not, identified as such. So she's highlighting the verbs in the first page. This will let you hear her fluency, and it does work, but we probably don't have the time to play it right now. Here's the vocab matching. So again, it's a multi-page response, and the student gets to use the pen to say that they understand. And where do you see the creativity here? The fair model for literacy. So the definition, a sentence, not everything spelled correctly. But look at that picture the student was able to draw for this word. Here's another one of the words. I thought that was a pretty, thanks, that heart. I know, isn't that so sweet? And then they had a grammar activity with Brain Pop. And I believe that the teacher identified that it was done. This is how to get into Brain Pop. And then we're back to the front.
So I would hope with all the time that she put into this, that kind of is that template idea that one of you guys were talking about a second ago, where she creates this front template. And a lot of these are the same. She might use the same Zoom link, Epic link, the Dojo stuff, and then use that same format for those Frayer maps or the matching activity over and over again with new words and new vocabulary, so that she's not constantly having to rebuild, and get the kids hopefully familiar with using those different thinking maps and the tools.
So and again, this is a team that works together. So this slide is showing you can have a link to the activity that I'm about to show you, or I want you to see this student engagement in the math. So I'm going to go ahead and play this. Again, this is not possible in the free Seesaw, not to this extent. But a lot of people don't realize that they have these capabilities. So the first page, again, they're used to seeing her. The learning target is there. And always highlight the verbs. I like that consistency no matter what the content. So here's her first page. So having to do the math. How many pennies is this coin worth? There's another way to do it. And here's the little video. I won't play the whole thing, but I want you to hear her explanation.
So, first, I wrote down 24 in fives. 5, 10, 15, 20. And then I only had 24. So all you had to write down was 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 fives, and then one group of 4. I put lines in the middle of each 5 to know that I have 5 here, 5 here, 5 here, and 5 here. But I only have 4 here. And then I wrote down 5, 5.
She continues to explain all the difference here and what's going in the basket. But that just makes me giddy. To be the mom listening or the grandparent listening, or to be the teacher, if you're assessing this, I think it's quite clear that she knows her math. Anyone else want to say anything about that?
Just to think, if they did not have that option and she just were to put 6 on her paper or whatever, you would have no idea her understanding, or if her mama told her the answer. But we know this is her answer because she proved it.
Right. And I mean, I didn't quite get the sandwiches and the leftovers before, but she, as the video goes, she proves that she knows how much is left over because of her math. And then again, we're back to the front. So you have access to those activities, both the student response and the teacher response. So we're going to move forward unless there's any questions. Haley?
No questions that I see. Just, Emily mentioned she took ownership of her thinking and really was able to prove it.
Is there anyone that will tell me that's present, is this going to bother you if I don't present? Because I want to do it this way because it's easier to navigate. So the multiple links on a canvas is key because, as you can see, this example has watch, read, and explore. Once again, a type of choice board, but because you have the ability to add more than one link, you can link out or you can link to another place in the deck. So you could attach links to labels or to shapes or to a video or to the picture just by clicking it and getting the little lines around the edges. How many of you knew that you could do that? I love the idea of inserting a shape for a link because you can put things in a shape and you can give instructions that way too. And then you can also go between the pages. So you can link out and have the student come back in. You can link to some other kind of content, or you can link to like the 5th page in the deck to do something else. So it's kind of the ability to branch within an activity so that you can tell the kids, maybe this says Wednesday, and you click that and they go to the assignment for reading for Wednesday. Is that clear? Did I make sense, Haley?
Yeah, I like this part too. Just like Lorraine said, this was one of my favorite new features because yes, it kind of does look like a hyperdoc. And you can also, by linking those pages inside, just trying to, as few clicks as possible to get the kids where they need to be and working on what they need to work on.
So we were going to have you do this and go explore and just practice doing this, but I think we'll save the building till the end. Because there's not that many of us, but just to know that this is how you do add the links. I like the 3 dots, reminding you of the 3 dots to unlock the link and link it, and then click to use. So on the Padlet, there are 2 other questions. One, how does video on the Canvas deepen learning? How to enhance links deepen learning? And then we haven't done this. Take a minute for you to respond to both of these two questions or one of them, or give an example of how you've used it, we would appreciate it.
Yeah, and in the chat, Jennifer put in an activity that she had completed where it has her in the video. So I definitely think she could stick that on the Padlet if she wants to share, but you don't have to.
I would love you to. I put the visiting the apple orchard on here, Jennifer. Maybe you can talk about that after we start to write. Emily, that's exactly what I think about when I realize the students can go back in and listen again to the directions or to the story to answer some other question later in the week. Do you mind if I play this? I wonder if this will open.
Watch the video. When you finish watching the video, for the Seesaw activity, you are going to say the name of the pictures in each box. If the two pictures rhyme, you are going to give them a thumbs up. If they do not rhyme, give them a thumbs down.
Well, that sounds delightful. How were those responses? Do you want to tell the people here a little bit about this visiting the apple orchard and how that went for your kids?
So that's actually going to be this Friday. So we normally in the fall do a big apple unit. We learn about apples, and then our kind of culminating task is that we go to visit an apple orchard. And so we weren't able to do that this year, of course. So we wanted to allow kids to get that same experience. So on Friday, we're going to do a virtual field trip to an apple orchard. So they're going to get to learn and see all the things that we would get to do in person. And then we're going to have like apple tasting at school. And so we're just trying to bring as much normal to our kindergarten year as possible. So our content, we're each taking a subject. So our teacher, Terry Covington, come up with the idea of, hey, let's do a virtual field trip. And we're hoping and encouraging families to go out on their own and go visit apple orchards and take pictures and send in, and just that way the kids are able to experience what they normally would get to.
I would love you to share some of those responses with this board when you get them.
I can.
And Kendra, I saw a thumbs up from you on this one. It's right up your alley, isn't it?
It is. What a great way to pivot, to figure out a way to still give them that experience. So great job.
Yeah. Okay. So that was fruitful. Here's a little bit of what Seesaw has to say in case we missed it. The resources from around the web in one place, integrate Seesaw with outside apps and resources seamlessly. We saw that example with Brain Pop. I know that you guys use other integrated apps. I think Jennifer, in your lessons, don't you? For example, how about you, Emily? Yeah. And so that the learning experiences are different. We saw the young lady read her fluency and then draw a picture and then describe something else. There are different modalities within. Haley? So now we have the draw and record, which we've been looking at. I don't know, we didn't verbalize this with the example of the girl counting by fives, but she was using a shape, navigating exactly on the screen where she wanted it to go, recording her voice. Did you see all the manipulation that was going on there? And her own recording of her learning. I thought that was fascinating. So when you draw and record over a multi-page activity, if you're the teacher, that recording becomes the first page of the activity. Why would that be helpful for students? Haley and I were talking about this earlier, and she was thinking as from her son's perspective, if you're as a teacher and you have multi-day activities and they're involved, maybe just having you go through it and show the students the path would be helpful for them when they go back in to do it themselves.
I'm sorry, I had to pop out too. So what was, I had to pop out and pop back in. I'm sorry. What was your question?
I was asking, here is the question. Why you would use the screen record. I jumped around too much. So you have multi-page activities and you're going to record as you're going through them, and that recording becomes the top. Why would you do that for students? Why would you want to have that there for students? I think was where I was going.
I just think it would be a great way to record everything you want them to do, or the expectations, or the different learning targets, or whatever you needed them to have. And
Also,
then that,
sorry, Haley, go ahead. If it's a sequence of events, then that would be helpful for them to know the sequential process. First this, then this, just navigating through the
And
steps.
so many activities sometimes can get so confusing. It was nice that they're grouped together on those slides, and it feels like there's coherence or something, like you're pulling them together instead of jumping around in the activities. I love the multi-slide feature and the video, but it's good.
I just think this recording the screens this way, I think, is really powerful. I was really happy when that came. And that recording that stays there, or you can move it. I think you could reuse it for another purpose even. So this is another piece we thought would be helpful, because there's different ways of seeing landscape or portrait. And a lot of students are looking at it from an iPad, but maybe if they turn their iPad, they're complaining that things are too small. So you need to find out, how are you looking at the video? Is it full screen? Are you holding it portrait? So that's just there for you to troubleshoot. So that's giving you congratulations that you learned all of these new things. And this page has a link to the Seesaw training that, well, it's not a link, but if you go there, they have training on anything you could possibly want to learn more about. So if you want to dig deeper into any of these skills, then this is a morning message check-in, which I thought was a fabulous template, and I have linked to it so you can make a copy of it and make your own for your students. And then this is a literacy station choice board, 3 activities per day, and then a path. There's an explanation for teachers underneath it for you to go ahead and learn more about it on your own. I'm curious if you guys all know what the new features are that are coming. Have you heard? Well, I think I'm going to go ahead and watch this movie with you if you'd like, because you're going to be very excited. When it loads, we'll all be excited.
Hey everybody, I'm excited to share some of the improvements coming to Seesaw later this September. So we're going to talk about a few things today. The first is a calendar view for activities. Then we're going to talk about being able to pin to top in the activities and journal feed, and then some improvements to post recovery. So first up is a calendar for activities. One of the top requests we were getting from teachers and students was the ability to see the activities that are assigned to students laid out on a calendar. So it was easy to see what assignments you were supposed to do today or yesterday. So when students, after the update, when students sign in, they'll see a calendar option in their activities feed. And then they can just click on each day and see the activities that are assigned that day and if they've done them or not. So hopefully this will make it easier for students to see what they need to do on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, etc. The next improvement that we're making is the option for teachers to be able to pin an activity to the top of the activities feed. So when students go into activities, they see pinned activity at the top. This is great if you're doing a Google Meet or a Zoom and you want students to just work on this assignment while you're online together. You can pin it to the top, and then when students go into their activities feed, they'll see this pinned activity at the very top. We're adding a similar feature, pin to top feature in the journal view. So if students are in the journal view and the teacher has pinned a post to the top, that will show up before all of the other posts. And students and families will see pinned posts first if families are invited to the class. This is great for putting a post of link to your Google Meet or Zoom, or link to weekly planner, or some other important announcement or information that you want to have at the top for students. The last improvement that we have coming this September are some improvements to post recovery. So if students accidentally close their Seesaw app or their browser window or the app quits, Seesaw will save a copy of their work onto their device or computer. When they open Seesaw again on that device or computer, Seesaw will recover their work and they can continue where they left off. So this is great because students aren't going to lose work if they have a problem with the app or a problem with the website, or they accidentally close their browser window. And just like always, though, for work to be uploaded to students' portfolios and visible to teachers and family members, students need to tap the draft or the green check button in order to save their work and officially upload it into Seesaw. So these updates are coming mid-September, and an app update will be required for iOS and Android apps in order to use these new features. And if you have questions about these features or want to access more training about how to use these features and the other features of Seesaw, you can check out our awesome training website at web.seesaw.me/training. Thanks, everybody.
So I added it to the comments, but possibly late September into early October.
Yeah, I was toying with not sharing that, but some of those, the calendar and the pin to the top in particular, are game changers. And then recovering the students, I mean, I've had grandmothers on the phone saying, he worked so hard and it's gone, and how do we get it back? And so that's really, really powerful. Any questions, or anybody want to say anything about that, Pam?
There's a question from Jennifer, and I had the exact same question. How are the iPads going to the updates? Will they be pushed automatically?
They are supposed to be,
Okay.
and that is what we're hearing. But if that doesn't happen, once we know that the app is available, the update's available, the DLFs will all start asking the central office to say, has it been pushed? The situation is such that there are so many iPads now that yes, they start pushing those updates, but you might not get it for 3 days, right? So there's a transition between when the update can go. That's a great question. So here is what they said was coming, just a visual. this next slide is a slide deck that's taken care of by the Seesaw community, and every week a pro tip is shared. So you might see that on Facebook, you'd see one at a time, but this link will take you to the whole slide deck and you can go back. There's some great tips in there to help you with the Seesaw journey. And then the last page is, I have saved a copy of the Seesaw co-teacher agreements. I kind of felt them to be really important because I have a lot of teachers who are being co-teachers in other classrooms because of PE or media or guidance. And there were a lot of people having discussions on, has coach approved your activities? Well, maybe if you have an agreement, like take this document and change it to help you say, okay, like you, Jennifer, have an assistant that's helping you. You can say, I'll do this, you'll do that. So there's never any question, or did somebody do it? It's like doing less work, being more efficient. So I've shared that with you. And then you can register to earn your CEUs. If you go to this link, will take you to Frontline, and Haley will also put it in the chat. But I'm going to
I was going to say, I stuck it in the chat, and make sure that you click on that today so that you get your credit that you need.
But I was wondering if you had any other questions. Any ahas or surprises or something you're going to try?
I wanted to say, as you guys are sharing and building, we love to see not only what you're doing, but the kids' responses to what you're doing. So please continue to share those, especially with us being in the buildings right now and not inside the schools. We miss those sweet, darling faces. So if you get a cute response, I know I would love to see it. Lorraine would love to see it. Your DLF would love to see it, because it is good to see the good things that the kids are doing. And what you're doing too.
And definitely share some of those field trips, Jennifer. It'll be fun. We really appreciate you attending. We had fun putting this together. I'm still getting used to this kind of delivery. No excuse to buy chocolate. I can't walk around the room. It's really, I miss being able to feed off of your energy and your great ideas. So thank you very much for being here.
So thank you guys for coming. And please reach out to your DLF if you have any additional questions. And my learning plan link is in the chat. Thank you.
Bye-bye.